The car chase has always been a classic staple in the action genre, so in honor of that, I'm doing a triple feature review on the three granddaddies of cinematic car chases. First up is Bullitt, a 1968 crime thriller directed by Peter Yates. Steve McQueen is Lieutenant Bullitt, a cop whose witness is murdered and he has to find the killers while keeping one step ahead of an ambitious politician who wanted to use the witness, but runs into a few twists along the way. The plot is pretty solid with a few decent twists, but being an older movie directed by a European director, it does have its dragging slow scenes. McQueen is known as the king of cool for a reason, and that's how he plays the maverick detective. Robert Vaughn as smug politician Walter Chandler's can be considered a secondary antagonist, as he's frequently pestering everybody about his witness. Simon Oakland as Captain Sam Bennett is more reasonable than your typical yelling all the time movie police chief, and Jacqueline Bisset as Bullitt's girlfriend is kinda like Megan Fox in that she's not that interesting or relevant, she's just eye candy. This movie also has the first modern car chase through the streets of San Francisco, and it still holds up pretty well after all these decades. Next up is The French Connection, the 1971 thriller film that is an adaptation of the book by Robin Moore. It's based on the real-life tale of the NYPD breaking up the French Connection, a heroin trafficking ring masterminded by the Union Corse. The main plot is that NYPD detective Jimmy Popeye Doyle needs a big bust to keep his career safe, and so pursues a lead into a heroin smuggling lead with ferocious determination. The rest of the movie is a masterfully shot and edited, fast-paced cat-and-mouse game between the smugglers and the cops, enhanced with suspense and realism. Gene Hackman gives an Oscar-winning performance as the rough-and-tough, bigoted, rule-breaking, overzealous detective who is basically the original Vic Mackey, and is a great character. The rest of the cast gives good performances as well. Its iconic car chase is Popeye chasing after a hitman on a train with his car through the streets of New York City, smashing through garbage cans and swerving around cars, before ending with the iconic shot of him shooting the punk in the spine. As you can tell from that description, not only does this car chase still hold up, it actually exceeds most other car chases in movies these days. And finally, McQ, the 1974 crime film starring John the Duke Wayne. The plot is that a couple of policemen in Seattle have been murdered, including the partner/best friend of cowboy cop Detective McQ, who investigates the killings and stumbles across a larger scheme involving corruption and drug smuggling. The movie is rather enjoyable, as overall it has more action in comparison to the previous movies, and the plot is an okay cop story with a twist or two, but the villains are rather generic. The rest of the cast is nothing to write home about, as John Wayne's McQ pretty much carries most of the movie, and even as a character, he's not as cool as Bullitt or as interesting as Popeye, but John Wayne's presence is always enjoyable. The guy's like a giant teddy bear who kicks ass. And the main reason the Duke was in this movie was because he regretted missing out on the title role in Dirty Harry, and wanted to do a maverick cop adventure as well. It's worth mentioning that this is the first movie to use the Ingram Mac-10 machine pistol. I can relate. Its climactic beach chase features John Wayne emptying the Mac-10 into a car full of bad guys, resulting in the first cannon rollover in movie car chase history. To wrap this up, Bullitt is a solid cop classic with some dull moments and is a must-see for any car chase fans. I give it a well-done steak. The French Connection is a masterpiece and the best out of the three, with its fast pacing, suspense, realism, and its iconic car chase. It won 5 Oscars, including being the first R-rated movie to win Best Picture, and it deserves those awards. I award it not only a lobster dinner, but my top 100 Medal of Approval. McQ is the weakest of the 3 films, as it's rather generic overall, with McQ having to carry around most of the movie, but it's still worth checking out for its decent action and John Wayne's presence. I'm serving the Duke a double bacon cheeseburger, which is like a C+ rating. Well, my time is almost up. Now if you'll excuse me, it's time to ride.